Jackal, go ahead. Jackal, you're Halo pals. You're up here. You're on the stage. You'll just have to unmute yourself to ask the question.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I had to unmute. Yeah. So can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
All right. So, as a journalist, I just want to. Do you think that you framed that question impartially when you asked?
No,
I don't even know what her name is.
No, definitely
not.
Definitely not. And I'm not an impartial journalist. I've never claimed to be. I am absolutely.
Well, you're a journalist, right?
I am a journalist, yeah, but I'm definitely not an
Do you
impartial.
think that the ethics of journalism should be that you're impartial?
No, that's impossible. No
Really?
journalist is impartial. Any journalist that tells you they're impartial or tells you that they're unbiased, you should be afraid of that person and you should never listen to them because they're lying.
Okay, so I would. Everybody has an implicit bias, right? But when you're presenting facts, you're supposed to do it in an impartial way.
It's not.
But at least you're honest, and you're saying that you don't believe that you're an impartial journalist.
Not.
I just think it's a little ridiculous. Earlier on your stream, you were saying that she was mocking you and laughing at you when you literally framed the question in a mocking way. So I don't really see how that's fair.
Yeah, that's not why I did that. I didn't frame it in a mocking way to mock Candace Owens. I framed it in that way to distance myself from the question, so it didn't seem as though I was asking a ridiculously absurd question on my third day in the Pentagon press corps. It is a silly question.
Disingenuous, though, man.
I don't think it's disingenuous. Regardless, the information was the same. It didn't change the outcome of the answer at all. Do you think it did?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Because if you frame a question in a way that, if you took it seriously, right, and you're like, hey, I'm legitimately asking you if the Department of War has any information regarding this supposed assassination plot, and you lead the question in a humorous way, then it causes the person being questioned not to take it seriously at all.
Wait, so if somebody asked you, yeah, I do actually completely disagree. If somebody asked me a question like, let's say I'm at dinner with a friend of mine's family, and his family are liberal, and they said, ha ha ha, like, nobody could actually support this guy, right? And they're talking about Trump, right? Am I going to say, oh, yeah, no way? No, I'm going to say, well, actually, yeah, people do support this guy, right? So what I would expect is actually, hold up, pause. If Candace Owens, if there actually was a French assassination plot against Candace Owens, and I were to lead the question in that way and say, don't laugh, but is there an assassination plot against Candace Owens? And then she then says, yeah, we actually do have some evidence that this could be the case. Now I look like a fool and I still have to publish it. So, no, I don't see any issue with the way I did it. I'm not impartial. I'm biased. Everyone's biased. There's a reason I'm not a National Geographic photographer, and I've chosen to be a political journalist and, in the Pentagon press corps. It's because I'm obviously biased. That's a bias itself. Everything down to the way you angle your camera is a bias. The words you use when you write a story is bias. When you write a tweet, those are all bias, and no journalist can escape that. None. And anyone who tells you they can is lying, and you should stay away from that person. Candace certainly isn't impartial.
So,
Candace is
you
very.
have to ask another question.
One second. Candace is very partial, and she's very biased, and she doesn't hide that either, to her credit. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't claim that she does. I was just curious if you think you're an impartial.
No.
Because I didn't like the framing of the question. It seemed a little ridiculous and disingenuous to me.
By the way,
again, it also goes back to the fact that you were upset with her for like mocking you, but you asked the question in somewhat of a mocking tone to the press secretary.
Sure,
so
and by the way, real quick,
it's disingenuous. And
by the way, real quick, that's a fair criticism. That's fine. Like what you're saying right now is a fair criticism. Honestly, it is.
I appreciate that.
I'm not
here's
impartial.
My question, like here's the thing with Candace, man. I grew up through 9/11. I'm sure you did as well. I don't know how old you are. And so many different events, COVID, man. Like, why should we trust the government, right? Why should we trust the government to give us the truth? No one believes the government. Candace seems to be the only person with the balls that's standing up and asking the right questions when nobody else did. She's saying, all these people that were apparently close to Charlie are just kind of taking the government's word for it. And I think that a lot of people, the reason that Candace has so many people watching her show every week is because we don't trust the government. And she's the only person that's standing up and questioning the narrative, asking the questions, doing like the dirty work. And you can say she makes all these claims, and that's fine. Sure, she is making claims. But at the same time, like those of us that have been paying attention and actually listening to her really appreciate what she's doing, because she's taking a stand against what has been this phony bullshit that the government always pushes us. These narratives where the rich keep getting richer. They have these staged events, and they kind of mark them off like they give you this bullshit narrative, and we're all supposed to just take it in stride and forget about it. And there's a tide that is turning now, right? And not to be cliche, but it's literally like a turning point in kind of like the mainstream. Dude, she's talking about things like, she started bringing up like the elite bankers, the Rothschilds, like this sort of elite group that everybody kind of like, it's always been these fringe theories, right? That, like the Alex Jones tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists have always been kind of painted as, but she's bringing this stuff to the mainstream, and she's asking the right questions, man. And so to see people like you, who I was a big fan of yours for a long time, Cam, and to kind of see like the approach that you've been taking to this has been very disappointing for me, because I think she's doing the right thing. And whether she gets everything right or not is like, at least she's asking the questions.
Well, that's important, though.
And pushing back.
That's important. And again, on this channel, we're dedicated to the truth. And if you're baselessly making claims without providing any evidence to them, and then when I debunk those claims, you baselessly attack me and lie about me, that's a problem for me. So I don't know what your contention with the way I'm handling this is, outside of me saying don't laugh before I ask Kingsley the question. That's a fair criticism. As I said, I'm not an impartial journalist. I've never claimed to be. I'm very biased. But I don't know what your criticism of the way I'm handling this is, because all I've said so far is that she's made a lot of claims, she's provided no evidence for them, and then she's baselessly attacked me when I've debunked those claims and not provided any rebuttal to them other than calling me fake and gay. That's not evidence. That's not challenging the establishment. That's not doing anything. What's that? She hasn't provided any evidence. Her evidence was actually, well, hold up. Her evidence was actually that she can't provide any evidence because her contact at the French government will get killed, but the government will prove it for it. So I don't know about this challenging the government lies narrative, but the government will prove that I'm telling the truth when they confirm that what the evidence I've given them is accurate. And then when I ask the government says we have no idea what the hell she's talking about.
Do you not think that silence is an answer?
It wasn't silence.
Isn't it kind of crazy that isn't it kind of crazy? Yeah, there is silence, dude. The press secretary of war, she said she didn't know.
Yeah, she didn't know because there is, like, a spoiler alert, there isn't a plot. That's why she said she didn't know. She said she didn't know because she hasn't been briefed on any plot by the French government to assassinate Candace Owens. That's why she doesn't know about it.
To give you an answer?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, like, why would she get briefed to give you an answer?
The press secretary of the Pentagon would get briefed to give me an answer because if this is a credible threat, people are going to ask about it, right? And that's the job of the press secretary of any institution, is to be able to accurately answer applicable questions to the department. The same reason that Caroline is briefed on anything that she could possibly be asked by the mainstream press corps at the White House.
All right, man, that's all I got for you. Thanks for your time,
I appreciate it, man. Hey, and I hope you stick around the channel. Barbie, do you have a disagreement with me here?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Do you have a disagreement with me here?
Okay, Cam, listen, I love you. I watch you all the time. I've been up many nights watching you in different cities. I think you're a great guy.
I appreciate it.
But I listen to Candace too, and I've listened to her a lot, and I think she's very intelligent, and I think she's going through a lot, and I can understand a lot of the things she's saying. I don't think that that she's lying for sure. How do you know she's lying?
Well, I can tell you exactly. I know that she's lying about me being on Turning Point payroll, because I am Cam Higby and I'm not on Turning Point payroll, so I know that's a lie. That's number one. I also know I'm not being paid to do propaganda by the Pentagon, because again, I am Cam Higby and I'm not being paid to do propaganda by the Pentagon. So there's two lies right there. And I also know that she was lying about the government confirming that she would, the government would confirm that there's a plot against her, because I actually asked the government and they had no idea what she was talking about. So I know those three things are lies.
Okay, that's not what she said. She said she wanted to submit the information to the government, and the other day she said, I haven't heard back from them. I watch her all the time.
She said that they confirmed the receipt of the information.
She didn't say they confirmed it. She said, I didn't hear back from them.
She didn't say
so
that.
They're not answering.
Well, one second, Barbie. She didn't
okay,
say, she didn't, no, you're good. She didn't say that they confirmed that the information was true, but she did say that they confirmed that they received it. And if they received it, presumably they'd know about it because they have it. She also said that it was on Trump's desk, and evidently the DOW has no idea what she's talking about, and apparently Trump thinks it's silly. So.
Well, okay, so let me make my point, because I like you a lot.
Thank you.
And this breaks my heart to see you so upset about this.
I'm not upset. I mean, it is a little bit upsetting, some of the allegations, but I am at the end of the day, I'm a truth seeker, and I'm just informing my audience of the truth when there are lies being lobbed at me. And to your point, and to Candace's credit, she does have a lot going on, and there is probably a lot of emotional issues that she's having right now. She just had a baby. One of her friends was killed, and now it seems that the entire mainstream is against her. I understand that, and I understand how, as somebody who has the entire mainstream against them this week, and now the entire further side of the right after me as well. This is I understand how that can be difficult, and to her credit, that's true. But I don't think it justifies lying about me in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And that's what I'm here to do, is just set the record straight and allow myself to be interrogated and questioned by people who support Candace, and maybe they support Candace and myself like you do, and want to hear Candace's side voiced on the live, so it's not just me sitting here talking about her with nobody in the room to defend her, because that's what she did about me. And I'm not going to let that happen on my life.
Well, I appreciate that. I think you're a great guy.
Let's kind of revisit some things. I had no idea you were contracted with TPUSA. Clear conflict of interest for your reporting on anything related to Candace Owens. And again, we were talking earlier about journalistic integrity. If you call yourself a journalist, then you have clear ethical principles that you're supposed to abide by. And maybe you have personal impartial bias, but you're not, or personal bias, but you're not supposed to do any kind of reporting that is swayed to one side. That's just called journalistic integrity. And you've already admitted that I'm not saying you don't have journalistic integrity, but you've already admitted that you're not an impartial source, right? And so it kind of it's a clear conflict of interest then for you to say that you're going to approach this with a clear judgment when you get paid by TPUSA. So clearly your arguments are going to sway towards the apple cart that's paying you.
Okay, can I respond?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so Turning Point USA is like no substantial income to me. I contract for them when I feel like it. I make more money from my YouTube lives. I can't do both at the same time because they want exclusive content. I have been doing my live streams far more often than I have been reporting on for Turning Point USA because I make more money doing the lives. Okay, so it's not the apple cart that pays me, right? Because they don't pay me that much. And again, it's a contract. I am a freelancer that sometimes sells stories to Turning Point USA. I'm not on their payroll, like Candace Owens said. She's a liar. And again, I'm not reporting on Candace Owens. That's not what I'm doing. I asked one question to the Pentagon about a claim that she's made, and that's it. I'm not reporting on her. What I'm doing right now, the purpose of this live, is not to report on her. It's to address the lies that she has made about me. Okay? She's not an impartial source on any of the things that she talks about. She's a disgruntled former PragerU and Turning Point USA employee. So do you think that she's an impartial source when she talks about Turning Point? No, she used to work for them. She literally founded a company and then sold it to them. And then she left. She is a former disgruntled employee from both companies that repeatedly and routinely talks down on both of them. Okay? When I left PragerU, right, did I have some issues with some stuff that happened there? For sure. Right? I don't know. This doesn't having sold some stories to Turning Point doesn't disqualify me from being able to talk about something that's related to Turning Point. By the way, this is not related to Turning Point. None of this has anything to do with Turning Point. I didn't ask them about. I didn't ask the Pentagon anything about Turning Point. I asked them about a French assassination plot against Candace Owens, who is not a Turning Point employee, and that question was not in any way related to Turning Point. I didn't ask them, do you think that Turning Point is plotting to kill Candace Owens? Do you have any evidence of that? I asked them about a French military plot to assassinate Candace Owens. That is what I asked. Had nothing to do with Turning Point. I wasn't paid by Turning Point to ask the question. And by the way, I'd be the last person that Turning Point would ask to make that question, considering there are 5 full-time Turning Point employees in the room. Okay? He said that I'm not supposed to weigh on anything that I could be swayed on. That's not true. Every journalist has political opinions, and every journalist cannot, like, it's inescapable. You cannot escape your bias. Your bias will always infiltrate your work, and it will always affect the way you report on things. Any journalist that tells you they are impartial is a liar, and you should avoid that person. Every journalist is biased, including me, including Candace Owens, including Tucker Carlson, including whoever they whatever bum they hire to anchor CNN these days, including Caitlin Collins, including anybody at the Daily Mail, Turning Point, whatever company it is, they're all biased. Every journalist is biased. Nobody doesn't have opinions about things. And if you don't have opinions about things, you're not going to report on that area, right? So if you don't have opinions about politics, you're probably not going to be a political journalist.
No, I think I'm not, dude, again, there's journalistic integrity, right? So yes, you're correct that everybody has personal bias. But like I said, as a journalist, you're supposed to try to be a professional, right? And adhere to the ethical principles of journalistic integrity, right? I mean, like, come on, dude. Like, so do doctors have integrity and principles that they're supposed to abide by, and ethics. There's a code of ethics in each industry that you're supposed to abide by, right? And I appreciate your honesty, right? I'll give you credit for that. But again, when you have a relationship with Turning Point USA and there is an opportunity for you to make money from them in the future, why would you go? Why? Like, again, it's kind of like why would you then stick your neck out for someone like Candace, who again is asking very important questions around this bullshit narrative? Do you really believe Tyler Robinson was a lone wolf shooter?
I don't know. But that's irrelevant to the idea that there's
I'm just asking your personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't have.
I'm just asking. It's not relevant. We're talking about Candace Owens, right? We're talking about Candace Owens.
No, it is, because that's not my
contention.
contention. That's not my contention. I'm not involved in the Turning Point drama with Candace Owens. Okay, and by the way, Turning Point isn't going to never contract with me again because I take Candace Owens' side on something. Okay, and by the way, like you say that you make the assertion that I would never side with Candace Owens when I know that Turning Point has an opportunity to pay me in the future. But I've literally burned massive bridges with companies because I felt as though they were doing unethical things or doing things that were wrong, despite the fact that I could have made a lot of money from them in the future. I do it all the time. Turning Point is not my primary income. It's not even a third of my income. It's not a tenth of my income. Okay, I don't make a lot of money from them, and I could count on my hand. It's probably been 3 times I've reported on, for them in my entire life. They've never flown me anywhere. I don't think they've even ever asked me to report on anything specific. It's been, oh, hey, I'm over here in Portland. Like, do you want the story? Stuff like that, right? I'm not violating any journalistic ethics codes or anything, right? This is purely something that the Pentagon thing that I felt needed to be asked, and so I asked it. It had nothing to do with, oh, maybe Turning Point will like me more if I ask this question, right? Because I think they wouldn't. I actually take a major risk asking that question. If Kingsley was to come back and say, oh yeah, actually we are aware of such a plot. I'm not going to share with you the details of the plot, but we're investigating it. That doesn't confirm that it's real. It doesn't confirm that it's not real. But that actually would make me look bad to Turning Point. Potentially it's actually a risk. And by the way, they were standing right next to me. Like, the Turning Point people were not next to me, but right across the room. Their table was somewhat close to it. The briefing room's not very big. So, they definitely heard me ask that question. They didn't put me up to it. And I'm sure that they know very well that it could have gone sideways. And I definitely don't think it's a question they would have put me up to ask. Especially knowing that it could potentially make Candace look good if there's even a kernel of truth to what she's saying. Because Candace Owens does oftentimes have kernels of truth in the things she's saying. And there's a possibility that Kingsley could have come back and been like, oh yeah, we were actually actively investigating that. And then at that point, I would have been like, okay, maybe there's some truth to what Candace is saying. Let's dig a little deeper here on this. And then I probably would have, and I'm actually actively still seeking this, a source in FBI counterterrorism or some other law enforcement agency. I'm actively looking for a federal source in law enforcement on counterterrorism, and I'm going to follow up with Kingsley on it too.
Yeah, I just don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility for someone from the outside watching that and thinking okay, well, clearly there's a conflict of interest here. You get money from them, you have opportunity in the future, you have a relationship with them, you ask this question in a very, in my opinion, dishonest way. If you were actually seeking an honest answer, Like, and so, but we can move on from this because we keep talking in circles.
I want to respond to that real quick before you go again. Yeah, nothing's outside the realm of possibility. You're totally right. There could be UFOs flying over my house right now, but like, prove it. It's the same thing Candace Owens does. Well, it's not outside the realm of the possibility that space aliens came down from Mars and killed Charlie Kirk. Okay, prove it. It's not outside the realm of possibilities that there's actually an intergalactic plot to assassinate me. Okay, so prove it. Right? Nothing's outside the realm of possibility. It's possible, you're right. Prove it. Like, what's the proof? Candace Owens is already lying about me. She said I'm Turning Point payroll. I'm not on payroll. Payroll means I'm a W-2 employee. I'm not. Right? I've been paid by them probably 3 times in total, a day rate, and that's it. So, and that's by choice, by the way. I could have worked for them a lot more, but I've chosen not to. Go ahead. And again, by the way, like, as I said before, I make more money from going live. The only reason that I provide Turning Point with my coverage sometimes is because I like Turning Point, right? And again, I started working for them before Charlie was killed, and it was kind of just important to me as like a mission thing, right? But I make more money from going live, so it's not like a conflict of interest, I don't think. As far as like, oh, I'm scoring good boy points with Turning Point, so they'll give me more jobs. I don't need more jobs from them.
I think you're protecting your interests.
What are my interests?
Like, I think you're protecting your interests. If you were a journalist with journalistic integrity, you would pursue. Okay. Did you mute me again?
No, go ahead. No, you're not muted. Go ahead. Sorry.
If you were a journalist with journalistic integrity, you would pursue both sides of the story. You would investigate both sides of the story. Have you investigated anything Candace is talking about? It's crazy that military Egyptian planes have gone to every location that Charlie and Erica have been for the past 4 years. That's not weird. Dude, if I was a journalist, I would want to investigate that. What's that about?
Can I respond now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could certainly follow up next time with the Pentagon and ask them about Egyptian planes. I don't know if they'll have an answer. I don't know if it's the right department to ask, but I could certainly try. I could certainly ask Kingsley about it the next time I'm there. This was the most relevant thing at the time, was the assassination plot, which is why I asked her about that specifically. I didn't have a lot of time with her.
All right, so you're upset with Candace for calling you out, essentially, for how you asked that question.
Wrong.
And I don't think it's unreasonable for her to have the perception of you that she has. Maybe she was a little bit ridiculous in the claims that she made. You can think that's fine. But when she knows that you make money from TPUSA, and then you ask that question in a very leading and dishonest way, in my opinion, I don't think it's wrong for her to have the perception that you have an interest that you're pursuing at all, which is essentially what I'm getting at this entire time. So for her perception is, this is a guy who's making a mockery out of the claim that I have. And put yourself in her shoes. What if she has legitimate reason to believe that there is an assassination plot? Again, and you're here basically laughing with what Kingsley, I think, as you said her name was. I don't even know her name. Yeah. You're basically laughing about it. Oh, this thing is so ridiculous. What does she owe you?
Well, I would say that if she claims to be a truth teller, she would owe me the most bare minimum amount of research into who I am, my body of work, and what I've done before she lies about me. And this gets interesting because you say I was upset because she called me out for the way I answered the question. That's not why I responded. This actually, if you watched any of what I've done, again, I've said repeatedly that's not why I'm upset. And I actually said to you that's a fair criticism. And if she would have just said that on the show, then I wouldn't have responded to her at all. If she just said, oh, well, I don't like the way he answered the question or asked the question, it seemed kind of rude and unfair to me, I would have said, okay, fine, that's fair criticism. What I'm upset about, or the reason I'm responding to her, is because she blatantly lied about me and then sort of attempted to discredit me by saying I'm playing dress up as a journalist, claimed that I was on Turning Point payroll, and that I am producing propaganda for the government, because now that the government hasn't reinforced her narrative, she's also against the administration, which is odd. So no, that's not why I'm responding to her. It's because she called me out for the way I asked the question. That's fine. I'm calling her out because she's lying about me and actively I'm not going to say sending her people over here, but her people are coming over here and making accusations against me that aren't true. And so that's why I'm responding.
Fair enough. Well, I appreciate you giving me the time, man.
All right.
I appreciate it, Cam. Hey, dude, I'm praying for you. I genuinely really am. I do appreciate what you do, but just investigate both sides, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
But take care.
Yep,
Bye,
you as
brother.
well. Have a good one. Bye.